You ready? Are you guys ready? You ready down this way? That's wrong.
Our guy's on the agenda had his baby at 4 o'clock.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. If you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Not a digital.
Do that too. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll?
Trustee
please?
Burt.
Present.
Trustee Fabdol.
Present.
Treasurer Anderson.
Present.
Supervisor Miller.
Here.
Clerk Triplett here. Trustee Clee.
Yes, ma'am,
and
present.
Trustee Campbell.
Present.
Thank you.
Do we have any additions or deletions to this evening's agenda?
Anything?
No, I don't, it doesn't sound like it. Are there any corrections to the minutes from the regular meeting, June 5th? No corrections? Hearing none, those in favor of approving the minutes from the June 5th regular board meeting signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That stands approved. Now it's a public comment time. If you'd like to address the board, I'd ask that you come to the podium, state your name, we don't need your address, and you'll have 4 minutes to address the board.
Guess I'll go first. My name is Veda Bala, and I'm a Flint Township resident.
Can you repeat your name, please, and spell it?
Veda, V-E-D-A, and the last name is Bala, B-A-L-L-A.
Thank you.
And I'm concerned with the properties at G3410 Fenton Road and the Fenton Hall Point Apartments, which I'm sure probably law enforcement and the fire department are very familiar with. We've had them out there several times over the last 2 years. Even the sheriff's department has been out there. Had the fire department, I think is maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and the police. It really should be condemned as far as I'm concerned. There have been squatters in there. They've torn the property down. They've torn part of my fence down. They've used it to make bonfires. The last thing I saw was a door was broken open on the lower level about 3 weeks ago, and I did report it to police. And there had been a man making a fire, and it's right next to my property. I'm right behind the one on Fenton Road and right next to that apartment complex. And I hear people out there at night, and sometimes I go out to see, but I hear them going through the yard. But I have reported several times seeing people break it or be in the building. And so I would really like to have that taken under consideration, what could be done with that, because it is not just an eyesore. I mean, there's a lot of garbage thrown out there. I wouldn't be surprised if there were human excrement in some of the bags. I cannot tell you that for sure because I'm not going to go through them. There's been some attempt to clean it up a little bit. And the police and fire department have been good about coming. So I will say that. But, trying to catch them right in the act is difficult. So I wonder, what zoning would be approved for usage of that land if it were condemned, or how that, they're both commercial, I would think. So I don't know if the one on Hall would convert back to residential. I doubt it. But anyway, if you could look into that for me.
Can you repeat the address of the problem? Is it 3410 Fenton Road?
Well, that's one of them. That's probably my lesser problems, although they cut through. The one is right on the corner of Fenton and Hull. It's called Fenton Hall Point Apartments. So, they get lots of calls out there. So.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes. If you want to, call code enforcement tomorrow, and we'll have them go out and look at it and size up the situation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
Hello, Mark Showalter, Dyewood Estates. I have 2 points. First one is the sale of the property in Dyewood Estates. Hopefully, they do enforce the no trucks and vehicles for the construction. That hopefully they can keep that to where we do not have that. We just got done paying for the road improvement, and I don't want to have to, in 5 years, have to replace it again because of all the construction. Also, there's a road that dead ends around the subdivision. It would really be nice if that was finished when they actually do put the new subdivision in. Second thing is I've heard a lot of people complain about the businesses, Miller Road, Linden Road. I think the biggest key is Genesee Valley. It's an eyesore. It looks horrible. If a potential business comes into this community and they drive around Miller Road, Linden Road, Corona Road, and they drive in front of the Genesee Valley, they go, oh my God, that's an eyesore. Now, I have had a discussion with Tracy that there have been potential people that want to move into the mall and or buy the mall, and they cannot get a hold of anybody from who owns the mall. So that is an issue that I think everybody's got to get involved with. You can't rent a property if they cannot get hold of the landlord. You cannot sell the property if you cannot get a hold of the landlord. So that's something that I think the township board has got to work on, because I don't think businesses are going to move into town, into this area, with that location looking like, excuse my language, crap. You know, they're going to go to Grand Blanc, they're going to go to Fenton, they're going to go to Davison, they're going to go to Monday Township. They're not going to come into Flint Township, and we need to do everything we can to make our community look better. And I think the biggest thing is Genesee Valley. Genesee Valley is up and running and 90% occupied. You're going to get a lot more people that will be interested in moving their businesses to Miller, Linden, Corona Road. So, thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, Mark.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
Hello, I'm Marilyn Fenner, and I have the same concerns Veda mentioned about the Hull Street or the Fenton Hull Point Apartments and the 5310. I've moved into the area not even 3 years ago, but I've seen activity over there, and it's kind of concerning because I worry about the safety of the neighborhood, and I would just like to get that addressed as well. Like she was saying, if it could be, I mean, there's already boards on windows on the apartments. I don't know if it could just be torn down eventually and make that area look nice and pleasant and welcoming. So,
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
Linda Neerman. I'd like to address the board relative to the agenda item that you added without prior notice regarding the sale of Dyewood, the undeveloped part of Dyewood. I appreciate Trustee Cleve bringing the attention to all of you about the road and the need for that development, if it becomes a development, to have a separate construction entrance off of Calkins and/or Court, and that it be enforced. The Planning Commission, I know, will approve or disapprove whatever's going to be proposed, whether it be a cemetery again, a school, or of course housing. When we got our roads, we didn't get the 3% interest. We had to forge a bond. We had to pay additional money for a drain to go around, which now, of course, these people will be able to capitalize on, just like the Islamic Center did, that did not give us the right-of-way through there, which added to our $10,000. I know this board was concerned about $8,000 that another subdivision was going to pay per household. They got the 3% interest. They got sewer and water money, and they got additional money from the county, which we didn't get. Now, money's tight for all of us. Again, I appreciate Trustee Cleve. We need to protect our subdivision. The diversity in that subdivision represents the diversity of the township. It's old, I know. We're old. But nevertheless, I think you owe it to us to see that if the Planning Commission allows it to go through and you approve it, which you have to do, that it needs to be enforced. I'm very much aware that sometimes what goes through the Planning Commission does not get enforced, i.e. playgrounds to be developed, parkland that was proposed. None of that happened. So I'd appreciate you at least thinking of us and making sure that we're able to keep our roads before they wear out with extra traffic, because the engineer only engineered them for school buses and trash haulers. He said that in front of all of you, except 2 of you who were not on the board at the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
Hi, my name is Colleen Ford. I live in Lindenwood Farms, and this is my first board meeting I've ever been to. And so the reason I'm here is not a specific thing, but I was very concerned about the mall and the potholes that exist in the mall and the safety of people. I did have a fall there once a few years ago in a pothole as a pedestrian, but they're almost dangerous. And can we in some way make the businesses or whoever's responsible, the owner, take care of the parking lot? That alone will keep people away. And I agree with everything Mark said about the overall appearance. It needs to be sandblasted, I believe, get the dirt off the buildings themselves. But my other issue was litter. There's litter just everywhere. I don't know what the rules are, but if we could look into that, because that doesn't help. Just trash and litter everywhere. Even in my subdivision, more than there used to be. And another issue I have is speeding. The other day I was coming down Miller Road, traffic was flowing real nicely at 45 miles an hour, and suddenly in the lane where you're supposed to only be there if you're going to make a right-hand turn into one of the businesses, somebody went by, I swear, 100 miles an hour. My son said, "Oh no, they couldn't have been doing that." I said, "Well," he said, "it must have been about 70. Well, it felt like a jet airplane went by in that lane. And I did call 911, and they were going to report it to the police. I reported where the car turned in, so maybe they could have caught him possibly before he killed himself, or I don't know if it's a she or a he. So anyway, litter, speeding, potholes, and what are we going to do with the mall? What are some possibilities? Is there a committee that's working on ideas? Because there's malls all over the country that are being repurposed. So I don't need any answers tonight, but I just wanted to let you all know why I'm here.
Thank you.
Ralph Baldini, I know some of his former students, and we went through a process here a while ago about somebody trying to purchase the land behind where we live. And thanks to you, it didn't happen. What surprises me and what disappoints me more than anything, because I know some of you, is why weren't we aware of what was going on there? I just heard out of the clear blue sky that property's been sold. Can somebody kind of explain to me quickly the process, what's going to go in there, who bought it? I don't know anything about it. So who wants to speak to it?
We don't speak it. This is not a question and answer. It's just comment
Oh,
time.
not a question and answer. Well, let me say this. I'm very disappointed because many of you knew our feeling about a road going into our subdivision. $10,000 plus to keep that road or those roads safe and nice. And we had nothing, no prior notification of what was going on. Now, I'm going to say you want to speak to it, but I'd like to have you put it on the agenda again, so you have to speak to it. Can you do that?
The issue is that it was already on the agenda for sale and it won't come back up.
It was on the,
Last meeting, we voted on it. You can talk with Tracy Tucker, you can talk with me. I can stay after the meeting and bring you up to date.
talk to Tracy Tucker?
Or you can talk to me, or any board member if you
Oh,
want
her
to.
too. Well, I guess you have to know my concern, because we went through this before. Now, I've heard everything from subdivision to a gray cemetery. Now, I don't know how true it is.
There's a specific zoning on that.
Oh,
We can
okay.
talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Angela Lotz, and I'm new to the community, and this is my first board meeting. I actually sent the email out on Friday, and I did get a response this morning, so I'm thankful for that. I found out your board meeting was today on this past Friday. I own the new ATL Jamaican Jerk restaurant on Beecher Road, and my question was that I emailed was, when did you guys let businesses know that the road construction was coming through? Being a new business is challenging as, anyway, and our business just from the construction has drastically decreased. And I wanted to know how long it would be, so that was my original question. But in the meantime, in between time, from Friday to today, I did a little research and found out from Genesee Commission that it's going to be from May through August the 11th. That's the whole summer for me. And my question is, and now that I know that this is not a question and answer, how do you know your answers, or how do you get your situations resolved if you guys don't do a question and answer session?
We have a phone number that you can call. You can come in. I got a business card out there with my cell phone number on it. But you can give a call anytime. We're open Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. And I answer phone calls on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah, that's what I wanted, was businesses notified, because I hired a lot of summer kids that's out for the summer, and it has drastically been decreased, and I didn't know about the construction. I would have planned a little differently had I had known.
It's a Genesee County Road Commission project, but if you want to give me a call, we could talk about that more.
I appreciate that.
Sure thing.
Oh, and another thing, about the Hopper dollars and funds for businesses and things on that nature. Flint Township, and I'm a member of both chambers, Grand Blanc and Flint. It's a lot of information that comes out, and what I found out is that I don't qualify because I'm in Flint Township versus Flint. And how do you guys notify businesses of funding and things along that nature? Because I haven't received anything or any type of notices or anything that that's coming down the pipeline. I would like to know, being a new business and new to your community, how would I tap in on some of those dollars, and how would I be notified when things are actually coming up or down the pipeline?
Tracy's our Economic Enhancement Director. If you want to give her a call.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
Hello, board. Hi. My name is Leah Davis. I'm from Mundy Township. I'm not sure if you guys, as a board and township, can collaborate with another township, but I was wondering if you guys understood that there's a possible semiconductor plant that's going to be going along south of Maple Road. There are 3 square miles. I live right on Linden and Maple, and I have a friend that lives in the subdivision just along Maple, north of Maple, which is Flint Township. Just south on Maple is Mundy Township, so it touched you guys. We were right next to each other, so apparently nobody has bought the property yet or put an app in for construction there. But I do understand that a semiconductor plant is very environmentally hazardous, more so than a lithium battery plant. And apparently it requires 25 million gallons approximately a day, that it will take water out of the Lake Huron and then supposedly be filtrated through Flint water systems and then put right back into Lake Huron. And apparently there's like 3 other sites as well on the other side of Michigan, and the waters are supposed to be taken from the Great Lakes, and it it sounds like an environmental hazard all the way around for the state and for our Great Lakes, and I'm very worried about it as a resident, a Michigander. And at this point in time, Marshall and the other sites, they don't have any environmental impact reports. And I was hoping that we could get our hands on one, and that you could warn your residents in your township, because they're going to be living right next to this plant. And so if you can educate yourself as much as you can about this and tell your residents, and because we have to be responsible for the people and accountable for what is to come. And so I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board? Hi, Kevin.
Good evening. Kevin Stiff, the dive shop on Corona Road, and also a resident here in the township. I'd like to apologize because I've just been informed that I'm ill-tempered and mean-mouthed when I address the board. So if this is how it comes across, I apologize. So anyways, there's been a couple other people have brought this up. I wish we would have been informed about the sale of the property in the last meeting, so that I guess we could have had something to say about it. I talked to a couple residents in the town, or in our subdivision, and they said, well, you know what, it's a good thing. The township's going to get all that taxes from the sale and the homes that are going to get built. But the majority of the people don't understand that the township gets very, very little bit of that money. It all goes to the county or the state. The township gets very little. It would make more sense if we could get our taxes down and go after a millage. The township would get a better revenue off a millage than they would paying the taxes that we pay today. I tried to talk to the assessor. There's no reason to do that anymore. I've already figured that out. The other thing was we had our representative here at the last meeting, and when we have a representative here, can we get this to the point where we can ask a few questions when they're here? It doesn't make sense. He's a Democrat. Nothing against all of you being Democrats. I'm not going after that. But he made a couple liberal statements, and we didn't get to ask any questions. And I think when you bring a representative in here, and they get to talk, they get to say what they want to say, and then they're out the door. We get nothing out of this, And I think that it's unfair that they get to do the woo-hoo, the spin around. They get to say what they want to say, and then we're just sitting there without making any questions at all. Or asking any questions whatsoever. I think that if we could do a question and answer with them, might make a little more sense in our township, because we hardly ever get to talk to them, So, and one of the ladies talked about garbage, people throwing stuff out the windows. Again, I pick up garbage every day almost in my parking lot or along Graham Road or on Corona Road. It's a daily event. I wake up in the morning, go to work, and I go out and pick garbage up. Anything from trash from the convenience stores or everything. And I know the police chief don't want to hear this, but I've seen stuff thrown out right in front of the police cars, and they just keep on going down the road. They're probably busy, but can we get an ordinance, or a better standing ordinance? And then the last thing is speeders. I'm seeing people on Corona Road, guys driving 70, 80 miles an hour on Corona Road. They leave Graham Road, and I'm telling you what, it is like what they call a Christmas tree on a drag strip. They're doing 70, 80 miles an hour on Corona Road. So, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
My name is Gerald Roberts. I live in Flint Township. I've noticed one particular site that was kind of bad to look at for the longest period of time, and it was the Long John Silver site. Big pile of dirt and sitting there for maybe about 2 years. I don't know if that was because of an insurance settlement or whatever. Heard a lot of rumors as to why that sat there for so long, but I won't go into that. But now there's construction on it, and it looks like it's going to be off the ground and going. You're talking about the valley and how businesses look. We had a complaint about, my wife said this right next to the bank here on the corner of Miller Road and Linden Road. There's that Taboon or whatever restaurant that went out of there. Still had their sign there. It's all sprayed black and everything like that. My wife made a complaint, in other words, to the code enforcement that needed to be taken down, or at least nothing was ever done about that. And I know it's not a question and answer, but maybe afterwards, Tracy, you could tell me. In the last 2 weeks, I've noticed that there's construction on the corner of Bristol Road and London Road. And I heard that there was going to be a car dealership going in there. But I don't know what that is or whatever. But there's a whole bunch of stuff going on today. There's, I call them steam shovels and other bulldozers. There's people in there cutting out trees and a whole lot of action. That used to belong to a gentleman that years ago had a dentist office there on that particular corner a little bit farther down. His name was Eastman. And he was,
Sorry.
is that my time? Or
No, Jerry,
it's not.
I'm sorry, guys. Apologize.
I'm so used to that buzzer going off or whatever, saying, "Shut out and shut up, Jerry."
I'm always the one to say, put him on silent. I apologize to everyone.
That's okay. Can I go on now? Okay. That's okay. No problem. It's happened to me many times, even in church. My wife said, "Why didn't you shut that phone off? You're embarrassing me."
Sorry, guys.
Okay. But anyways, I would like to know what's going on that corner, because it looks like there's a lot of construction. I know Mr. Eastman was very nice and letting political signs go up there around Election Day and everything like that. And I talked to him a couple years ago, and Sally was in here, and she thought she had exclusive rights, in other words, to that particular corner, and come to find out she didn't. She got approval 1 year, and she said that there couldn't be any other opposition signs on that corner because she had an agreement with Mr. Eastman. So I proved her wrong on that one. Thank you very much, and I had a good happy Father's Day yesterday, and just happy that I'm still here. Bye now.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board? Oh, I was just asking if anyone else wanted to address the board. And if not, we'll close public comment and we'll move on to reports. And so just had a couple thoughts because of some things that came up during public comment. When it comes to litter, it's a big issue in this township, and we don't have anyone to pick up trash. It's us volunteering, and I know that the Parks and Recs Committee has done that before. We've had Earth Day cleanup with through the DDA. This year we're working with the police department doing volunteer pickups. Barb, isn't there pickups scheduled for the first Saturday?
Except for this one, or next one, July.
Not in July, but then August and hopefully September.
Through November, hopefully.
There's community groups who will do cleanups that we've seen do cleanups. Other than that, the road commission doesn't, they're responsible for the roads. They don't pick up trash. And we pay through the DDA a company that mows the ramps to the exits to Miller Road and Corona Road and Bristol Road. We pay them additional fees to pick up the trash, but they can finish picking up the trash. It looks great. They go home, and by the end of the day, it doesn't look like they did anything. And so I don't know what the solution is. We have rules that you're not, I mean, everybody, you grow up learning in kindergarten, you're not supposed to litter. But I can't stop people from throwing litter out their door, their window, and it's been a problem. It's got increasingly worse since COVID. So if anyone has suggestions on how we can conquer, maybe we'll be the cleanest township in the state if we can get a coalition of trash picker-uppers. But anyhow, I don't have an answer for that. I just know it's a big problem. And my biggest issue for my report tonight was Flint Township lost one of its community activists. Neil Seward passed away on June 12th. It was a week ago Monday. He was 71. He was married to Mary Beth. They just celebrated their 50th anniversary. He and Mary Beth were musicians. He played the French horn. He worked for General Motors for 37 years. And Neil and Mary Beth moved to Flagstone in 2016, and it was shortly thereafter that they started getting involved, coming to all the meetings like the Marks do, and a few other faces I see here all the time. Roger, you're here all the time. Well, the Seawards started coming, and they started volunteering to clean up trash, and they started working on our gardens. Mary Beth, who's not here tonight, they're having a private memorial service. She's a master gardener, and they've been working on gardens over at the park, and they do that. They just volunteer to do that. And we were just talking with Neil on Thursday. He said he got the diagnosis, and Friday he texted, and Monday he's gone. And it's shocking because he was really active. He would go to the county commission meetings. You mentioned about being able to ask questions of the state rep. It was Neil who pushed to have the Representative Jasper Martis here twice. And I mean, it was his intention, but it was Neil who set that up, and Neil pressed to have Dale Wayhill here. And I know Dr. Brown, she intended to go to see everybody, but Neil was very active, and I would just ask if we could remember him and just take a moment to honor his memory. He will be very missed. That's all I had to say in my report, Madam Clerk.
No reports for me tonight.
Madam Treasurer? No. Any trustee reports this evening, this way? No? No?
Ladies go, and then I'll go last.
Trustee Vert, do you have a report this evening? Anything going on at the senior center?
No, but I do want to know where they're at in their, with the food bank, or not the food bank, their food pantry. I think there's a balance, and have they been notified what they have yet to spend?
We got a notification last week by email, and the controller has that amount and knows the deadline, so we'll get that information over to, is it Evelyn?
Eileen.
Eileen, sorry, my mistake. We'll get that, we'll let you know, and we'll get that to her tomorrow. Anything else? So you said that the cleanup's scheduled this summer. They're taking a break for July, but the next one will be in August?
First Saturday. I'm not sure of the date, but the first Saturday.
We'll get that out to everybody July 17th. That's the only meeting we have in scheduled.
In the location.
We'll get that information out at the next meeting.
5th. Looks to be the 5th. August 5th. That's the first Saturday.
What'd you say? Oh, August 5th? Thank you very
that's
much.
Yes, ma'am.
All righty.
You want to come this way?
Yeah, I've got something.
Okay.
I was just going to let everybody know that Bishop Airport is going to be putting on Wings Over Flint Air Show, and that'll be this Saturday, June the 24th, and Sunday, June the 25th. The gates open at 9, activities start at 10, and flying will begin at noon. There will be food trucks, and also general admission parking will be located the parking lot south of Macy's at the Genesee Valley. if anybody likes air shows, Flint's going to have one.
Thank you. Ms. White? Sure.
I do want to say everyone feels really saddened that we've lost Neil Seward. He really did a lot for our community, and he was very supportive and just a very, very good person, it's hard to lose him. And one thing, I thought that when Jasper Martis was here, that he did turn around and ask if anybody had questions. He asked us if we had questions, but I thought he asked the group. All right, we'll make sure that they do allow that time, because I agree that you should have access to any of the politicians that attend. And I want to mention, besides the air show, if anybody is interested in auto fair, it's Sloan Auto Fair, which is the 51st 51st year. So people like the vintage cars. It's a good place to be, and they're both Friday and Saturday, Flint Township, and the auto fair is Saturday and Sunday. Is the air show Friday and Saturday? It's Saturday and Sunday. They're both Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
So that's all.
Choices. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Correct, this isn't we can't have conversations back and forth, but we have a chance to speak, and me speaking after everyone else, I always try to back up to the ladies and try to be a gentleman. I know that's hard to believe. Some of you know me very well. But for the handsome gentleman that stated he may have had us as students or may have gotten in trouble in his office and those kinds of things, I don't want to apologize. I'm not going to apologize to you, but I am going to say I am sorry to all of you. But I will stay vigilant. After our conversation the other night, there's the young lady down here who is on the Planning Commission will adamantly be in your corner. I will keep my nose in it. I will keep getting in trouble and getting told step back, get out of the way, and you know I won't do it, Mark. And I was adamant about it the other night. That is not going to happen. I come to your house, Mark. I've been to you guys' house. Jim Rossio around the corner, who, by the way, has cancer, and I'm over there helping him occasionally. Middle of the night, he gets a call. I get a call because he's fallen, and his son lives in Tawas, and his daughter is over in Muskegon, and he'll call me and say, Clee, can you go over and help my dad? Yep. So I'm on those streets. I know how nice they are now. I know how crappy they were. Sorry, Mark, I used your word. They were before. Mr. Principal, I'll stay on it. I promise you. I'll be it's not a I know I'm not supposed to have a discussion. I get yelled at all the time. It's who I am. I will be a PETA for you. I will be their pain in the, and you can fill in the last one. On the other side, Mr. Seward and I had positives and negatives, but he will be missed, as everyone has stated. Some people, get mad at people, and some people get mad at me for being opening my mouth, and life goes on. We got to keep pushing. Our main interest mine anyway, and what I said a long time ago, is that this township is where I grew up. This township is where I'm growing old. And this township is where I'm going to stay. You can't get rid of, you kick an old penny, and usually that penny rolls around and comes back. I'll support all of you. I'll give you a hand any way I can. I'll scratch your blue Jeep in the parking lot if it takes that, or get accused of it, jokingly. We're all doing good work, but it takes all of us to stay on it. And I appreciate the comments. I appreciate the abuse. Didn't say any names. I appreciate the late night calls, the early morning calls. Please don't hesitate. You know them. All of us will take those calls. We're here for the same reason. It's all of us. We live here. We breathe here. And I talk a lot. Thank you. Appreciate you. All of you. Everybody in the room.
Tracy, do you have a report for us this evening?
Sure. Just to highlight a couple of things that people had brought up. Bristol and Linden Road, It is a gas station with a convenience store that's going in there. It's pretty large. It's going to have diesel pumps in the back for the trucks. Maple and Vance Lake, we really don't know what's going on with that property down there. They're all under NDAs. The e-commerce site that we sent the NDA agreement to, I think I sent you an email today. They sent back a reply to our NDA. So there's a couple things I sent to the attorney to look at, make sure they're okay. If it's okay, then we'll move forward on that. We should be making more progress on that.
That's on Linden Creek
100,000 square
Parkway.
foot, yeah, 100,000
You
square
said
foot
Maple
facility.
and Vance Lake, or did you mean Maple
I'm
at
sorry,
Linden?
Maple and,
Between Linden and Elms.
Elms, yeah, we don't really know what's going there, but we are working with them. It's just that we don't know what's going there because it's under NDA. As far as I know, nothing is sold there yet, so I don't want to speculate on what's gonna go there, because I think when you speculate, a lot of times you're on completely the wrong path. As for when we have grants available to businesses, we do have an email contact list that we send out whenever we have anything. It's just we haven't had anything recently to send out to you. So I think the last time that you got an email from me was probably when we did our Easter stuff. You already mentioned the air show, which is great. We do have the ribbon cutting for the new trail extension that goes from our park to the Elms Road Park. That will be at 5 o'clock tomorrow on Elms Road at the park there in Swartz Creek. The trail is now open, that you can take that trail from their park to our park in front of the police station. So that is open now. One thing just to mention with Back to the Bricks coming up in a few months, I wanted to mention that we do have a tune-up party during that week before. We'll be here at Shea. So we will have
wonderful.
one this year, yes.
Do you know the date on that?
No, I don't. I
You'll let
think
us
it's
know.
the Monday or the Tuesday one.
Okay.
But
Great.
I'm not sure what
Very
that
good.
date is yet. We were just talking about the other day, and I thought that was good news that I could share with you guys. And then the Dyewood issue, obviously, we were very adamant when we were in discussions with the purchaser about no construction traffic on that. That will be included in the deed, along with them not being able to sell to a nonprofit for at least 10 years.
And that was part of the purchase agreement, and so it's
Correct.
my understanding that the person, Dr. Shakiri, who's purchasing it, if he doesn't like those terms, he doesn't have to continue with the purchase.
Right, he already signed it though.
And that
accepting
it's
the terms.
zoned for residential housing.
Correct.
It won't be zoned for a cemetery.
Correct.
Anything else on that?
Nope, that's it. That's all I got.
Thank you. Chief Salter?
Waiting for it to squeak. Squeal. Yeah, I do. Since our last board meeting, your police department has responded to over 1,600 calls, which is about 116 per day average. Not included in that number is 178 traffic stops we've done, 57 residence checks, and 91 business checks. Within the last 2 weeks, too, we had shots into a dwelling where a 15-year-old was shot in the lower back, butt, and arm. And there's 15 cases that were found outside the house. And a few rounds went through the trailer and ended up in somebody else's trailer, but nobody in the other trailer was hit. The people, the victim and the victim's family, they claim they had no idea why somebody was shooting through their house. So that investigation is still under investigation. The PD was assisted by the fire department last week with Miller Road being shut down from Lennon to Claude. It was shut down for almost 14 hours, is that about right? A car was swerved, hit a pole with wires on it, of course, went across the road. So they stopped all the traffic, and it was lots of fun, because that's a very busy road at that time. What else we got? Also, I know Mr. Seward, Mrs. Seward, Neil and Mary Beth are always, and it seems like in front of our police department all the time, working on to make sure that the police department looks up to standard and they've done great work. He's going to be greatly missed. So that concludes my report.
Thank you. Chief Beckley?
Thank you. Since the last board meeting, your fire department's responded to 49 incidents. This includes 4 structure fires and 3 vehicle fires in the last 2 weeks. On June 7th, we responded to a commercial structure fire in the 4100 block of Corona Road. This is at one of the hotels along the Corona Road area. Fire crews were called for smoke coming from an apartment or a room there. Was found to just be a towel burning inside of the room. Luckily, the police department was there on an unrelated incident and was able to stop that from getting any worse. So just like to thank them for that. They were able to kind of assist us there. On the 8th, we responded to a structure fire in the city of Burton to assist them. They had a house and pole barn on fire just on the other side of Fenton Road. We were out there for about almost 5 hours, assisting them with that incident. On the 10th, we had another structure fire in the 4400 block of Park Place in the Genesee Village Apartments. Arrived to find smoke in the hallways in the building with smoke detectors going off. Fire crews were able to locate a kitchen fire in an upstairs apartment that was mostly out, but the person actually left the apartment after the fire happened, so we had to locate that, make entry, make sure everything was out. There was some damage to the kitchen area in that, but luckily it did not get past that apartment. On the 15th, we responded to a smoke investigation call inside of one of the apartment buildings at Sunridge Apartments. Fire crews arrived on scene to find smoke coming from the doors and windows. There was a fire in a second floor apartment. Luckily, this fire was also quickly extinguished. One occupant was assisted out of the building by firefighters and was treated for smoke inhalation on scene. As Chief Salter said, on the 15th, we did assist them on Miller Road. Along with that, we received a structure fire call related to that. A business along the Miller and Ballinger area had an electrical box that was smoking due to the car that hit the pole. Luckily, there was no damage that we were able to isolate power, and there was no damage there. I'd like to thank Swartz Creek Fire Department for assisting us while we were tied up on those two calls. They did handle a grass fire on the expressway for us along with us, so I'd like to thank them for that help. And as always, I'm going to keep saying at every meeting, we're still looking for those on-call firefighter applicants. So please, if you know of anyone, please send them our way. We are looking for a few good men and women to join our ranks. And the on-call side of things, again, we pay for all of your training, equipment, gear, everything. We pay you to go to school. Please come join us. We really, really need some great people. Our new fire truck, the new ladder truck that we ordered May of last year, is starting to really come along nicely. I know I sent a few pictures out to the board a few weeks back. Myself and Captain Merriam are traveling to Ohio tomorrow morning to do our middle inspection on that truck, and at this point, it looks like it'll be done end of July, beginning of August. So, should be here later on this summer and ready to go. I just kind of like to echo everyone's comments on Mr. Seward. Neil and I have talked a lot over the last year and a half, gotten to know each other really, really well. And just a few days, prior to his passing, we were talking, down here in the parking lot. And it's definitely, going to be a huge loss to our community. The fire department, he's really done a lot for us over the last few years, and we're going to miss him. So we do have one action item on the agenda this evening.
So I see that they're installing your generator.
They are, yes. Yep, the pad is in, the generator is there. They're waiting on the transfer switch right now to complete the installation. So,
do you know when that will be in?
They didn't. Last I heard, they were not sure yet. Tracy, do you have any?
No, they're not sure. Probably 4 to 6 weeks, they're thinking. But they didn't expect to get the generators in this quickly either.
Yeah, we heard 4 to 6 months on the generators.
Yeah, everybody was told 4 to 6 months on the generators. And even everybody that we had quoting them was told 4 to 6 months on generators, so we don't know. Hopefully the transfer switch doesn't take long. They're hoping that it'll be in. They thought 4 to 6 weeks when they first looked at that one, whereas the generator was originally 4 to 6 months. So, but we got it in a month.
So the generator that was installed last Friday is complete and it's up and ready to go, right?
That one's just waiting on the gas lines to be installed, and the one down there is waiting on the transfer switch. As soon as the guys come in to do the gas lines on this, then we'll do a shutdown test. So we'll have another issue where we'll have to probably turn everything off to make sure there's no surges.
Okay, and
we did this weekend.
Thank you. One last thing, I know that you and I discussed, you got an answer from the insurance company.
Oh, yes. So the insurance company on our damaged fire engine did officially total it. I believe I let the board know that last meeting. They did offer the truck to us. They received a couple of bids from a salvage company for about $7,500, and they offered it to us for that price to purchase. But it's damaged significantly, and I'm afraid it's going to take a lot more than that to fix. We would not like to accept that truck and would like to see that go
So
off the
you're going to come back with some ideas of how we proceed to replace that, right?
That's correct. That's correct. Yep. We're doing some research right now. Of course, due to the high cost of fire trucks and the extensive lead times of almost 3.5 years right now. I don't know if we have that much time to wait, when it comes to, having another fire truck here. So we're looking at some different options that are out there when it comes to possibly a used, fire truck or things like that we may be able to get access to quicker. May not be the perfect truck for us, may have some things we need to take care of on it, but it may be something that we can use in the meantime since we are down a fire truck right now.
That was our oldest truck, right?
That was one of the the three oldest. So we had 3 trucks that were 2008s, and that was one of them. Yes.
You have a question?
Chief Beckley, just as far as the insurance company was concerned, they did give you, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, they did give us a number, that value of what they'll write us a check for. Is that correct?
They submitted it for the full value that the insurance policy was for, which was just over $356,000. That's what it's been submitted for to management, and they're waiting through all of the approval processes right now at the insurance company.
So that number then would be set, it would be, if I may ask, put into escrow as value to go after a new truck, that 356 or whatever we end up with, that'll be able to use towards a purchase of a used truck and/or new truck in that case, right?
That would
It'll
be
set in the
that would be
escrow position,
ideal. Yes.
So that it's available, it's setting aside. Okay. I just want to, I know we had talked about, I know you and I've had multiple conversations in the last 3 months and where we were with it, but I want to confirm in that
It's for a fire truck.
yeah, that 350 is going to be used for a fire truck and replacement part or used or whatever we need to do.
Yep,
Thanks,
yep.
sir.
So we're still working on those options. Assistant Chief Rowley, myself, we're kind of working through some different things. We've never really looked for a used fire truck, so we're trying to work with a few different companies out there to see what our options are. What we think might work work best.
Craigslist, eBay. I'm sorry, just
Thank you.
It's not something you can just run down the road. Usually.
Can't just go to the local corner and buy a used fire truck. All right, thank you.
Thank you. So we don't have a committee report. I know, John, we talked. You have sent the Road Advisory Committee an outline of the next couple years of potential road projects. And we are not going to meet in July or August, so when we get back together in September, we'll start formulating that plan to present to the board, hopefully by the end of the year. Right? Sounds good. Thank you, John. We are done with reports. We move on to number 8, Madam Treasurer.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve payment of invoices in the amount of $207,493.15.
Is there a second to the motion?
Support.
Any questions for Madam Treasurer?
Again, I will not be supporting the bills. One is because of the, I feel the wrong usage of calling an attorney without having conversation with other employees or board members. And also, when there isn't anything in your line item for conferences or workshops, that means you don't go. Just because it's in the budget doesn't mean you can use it for that. And I have a right to vote no. I don't have to say yes. That's all. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? No? I'm hearing none. Madam Clerk, roll call, please, on the motion to pay the bills in the amount of $207,493.15.
Trustee Campbell?
Yes.
Trustee Burt?
No.
Trustee Favdell?
Yes.
Trustee Klee?
Yes.
Treasurer Anderson?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller?
No.
And Clerk Triplett, yes.
Action item, or it's not action item, it's number 9. Are there any correspondence or informational items?
None here.
Going on to action items, 2023 Summer Tax Roll Special Assessment Certification. trying to get to the page. You have the resolution before you as presented from the assessment department and a list of all the items that are to be certified. A motion is in order to move forward.
Anderson moves that we approve the 2023 summer tax roll special assessment certification as presented.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Any questions or discussion? So this summer certification is for delinquent sewer and water bills in the amount of $633,445.19. And once we approve this, we can't add to it, but if someone does pay, they still have an opportunity to get it removed. So, Madam Clerk, roll call please on the resolution to certify summer tax roll special assessment.
Treasurer Anderson.
Yeah.
Supervisor Miller.
Yes.
Clerk Truplitt, yes. Trustee Klee.
Yes.
Trustee Favdal.
Yes.
Trustee Campbell.
Yes.
Trustee Burt.
Yes.
Action item B is, it's a resolution to authorize let's see. We already did the sale of the land with the contingencies. Do we have to vote on that again?
It's just to sign any documentation
it's-
related to the sale.
Right, but here it says
The
it's
title
both.
company needs a.
So it's a resolution to authorize the supervisor to sign, and it says clerk
And/or clerk, in case you're absent.
to sign the closing documents. Need a motion to do
Clee
that?
would move that we accept the resolution to move forward with the Dyewood property sale with all contingencies in place, with all considerations in place, that the resolution authorizes the supervisor and/or the clerk to sign the closing documents for completion of that sale.
Is there a second to the motion?
Support.
Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oh,
I did have a clarification. You've got and or, is it? And
but
or?
normally on a
Both?
resolution,
Both sides?
They're probably
She's-
both gonna have to sign.
For the sale
I've
of
gone to the
property.
closings before on the sales of the closing, the sale of a property. I've gone with Peter over to Sergeant's title, but on the resolution, we both sign on that. I don't
That's
know.
correct.
So,
We should get rid of the or. That's a good point. Can I amend I apologize, can I amend my
if you put
motion?
and, she's gonna have to go with me.
Well,
Right, some of the things only require one signature, but some of the things require two. That's why we did
That's
the
why
and
and
or.
was there, because some documents I signed and some.
I just need a clarification.
Okay.
Thank you.
but
Yeah,
you're right.
that's all.
Depending on what, okay, I'll retract
there.
my retraction.
Right? Okay, so that was approved. We're on to action item C, Chief Beckley.
Thank you. At the June 5th board meeting, funding was allocated for one full-time firefighter position within the department. I'd like to fill this position as soon as possible, as field training usually takes 3 to 4 months to complete. Again, once training is complete, this position will go directly towards reopening Fire Station 1. The Flint Township Civil Service Commission, in compliance with Act 78/1935, has provided the name of Austin Scott to fill this spot. He's been offered a conditional offer of employment, and he has successfully completed all of the contingencies to become a probationary employee. And I'm pleased to recommend the hiring of him to fill our position. Since 2019, he's served with the Grand Blanc Fire Department as an on-call firefighter, where he is currently a sergeant. And he also serves with the City of Flushing Fire Department, where he is a firefighter. He graduated from Goodrich High School and holds an associate's degree as well. With your approval, I'd like him to begin training with us on July 10th, 2023. And
Would that be his effective date or training date?
that would be his effective date,
Effective
July
date, okay.
10th. Yep.
Anything else?
That's all that I have.
A motion?
Clee
yeah,
would
July
move
10th?
that we accept the recommendation of Fire Chief Beckley for the hiring of Mr. Scott, in the fact that Austin has met all the necessary requirements, and that we would put him to work July 10th, 2023.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Any questions or discussion for Chief Beckley?
I will state the fact that, and I say it as a fact, I apologize. I will ask that Chief Beckley restate the fact that the gentleman has been given understanding that this 2-year position, why we work hard to fill it with additional dollars, will be ARPA dollars to pay for his 2 years of salary, and we will work our butts off to make sure that we're able to keep him.
So just a point of clarification, I know that the board has already approved spending ARPA dollars. You have submitted for the grant.
Right.
From
That's
the
correct.
federal
Correct.
government for 3 years.
That's correct.
Say we luckily get this grant before the end of the year. Those ARPA dollars also have to be spent within a timely manner too. So we would use the ARPA dollars until the grant comes.
Right.
And then we use the 3 years of the grant. Those ARPA dollars are going to be gone after that because they have to be expended by the end of 2024.
Correct.
So I just wanted to make sure that everyone was on the same page.
Right, but it would just depend on what the date that we would have to utilize the grant. Like Tom said, we might be able to do 2 and 3, or 2 and 4
Yeah,
and a
2 plus 3
half,
is
or
5, or
whatever. I
however
like
we would.
Tom's idea.
To play the ARPA dollars first.
Right.
Because they've been allocated, and we have to spend them by this date.
Right.
And then the grant dollars, and like you stated at last meeting and conversation, we're looking at 2022 spending, or grant dollars that they're working on now.
That's correct.
So we're 2023, so,
And
yeah,
the timing may be perfect.
it could
Right.
be wonderful.
Right, it's perfect. I like Tom's
But
idea.
we still, our efforts are, and are still gonna be to work towards more police and fire,
Yes.
one way or another. And someone, and I'm not gonna bring it up, but someone made a mention of something earlier on in this meeting about finding a way to increase our police and fire in this community, which is detrimental, not detrimental. It's necessary that we do that, continue to work on expanding our departments to the best.
Yes.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please, on the hiring of Austin Scott effective July 10th.
Trustee Favdor,
Yes.
trustee Campbell,
Yes.
trustee Clee,
Yes, ma'am.
supervisor Miller.
Yes.
Treasurer Anderson,
Yes.
clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee Burt.
Yes.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you.
Sir.
Action item D is to hire a part-time building inspector. His name is Lauren Knott. And it'd be for 25 hours or less during the week. And board can set the pay. I don't know. We talked about that earlier at the meeting. At $20 an hour. And a motion would be in order to move forward.
We would move to accept the recommendation for hiring a part-time building inspector based on the information presented.
Is there a second to the motion?
Support.
Any-
Carol?
Support.
Any questions or discussion?
You didn't mention the $20. You said $20.
No, I wanted to get to
That's
that point of discussion.
Was 20 in there?
No, I wanted to just, we were talking about the motion of whether, and get to the discussion point where we can now have that conversation. You know what I mean?
She mentioned 25 hours.
She mentioned. She
At
just
the
said
meeting.
20
25
now.
hours.
Well, I
She just
said
20 here.
because of what we talked about
Right,
earlier, so I
right.
said 20.
I wanted that, yeah.
20.
But
I want it part of the,
you want it part of the motion?
Of the motion.
Yeah.
So there's no,
It
it's
should
clear
be.
tomorrow. You want to restate the motion, Tom?
Yeah, I'll do it again. let me go back to my paperwork that I had out.
Include the hours too, 25 or less?
Yes,
9, isn't it?
She said 25.
25 or less.
Okay.
Sorry, give me a second.
It's okay.
I'm going back to my stuff. Okay. We had a motion and we move in a second, so not talking about Robert's rules, but we got to rescind that motion. I can correct it if you don't mind me doing so, ma'am.
Can you just attach an amount of a rate, please?
In order to continue with this evening's meeting, I will impact my motion to say a $20 per hour rate and not to exceed, so less than 26 or 25 hours.
Not to exceed.
Less than or equal to 25 hours, less than or equal to 25 hours per week. Pretty good with that?
Okay, that
Thank
was
you.
you supported, Carolyn, not Bert.
I thought it was Carol.
Any questions
It
or
was Carol?
discussion?
Okay, I thought, yep, I'm good. I
Any-
apologize.
If
Again.
there's any questions or discussion? Can you call a roll, please, Madam Clerk?
Sure. Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Trustee Fabdal?
Yes.
Clerk Trupley, yes. Trustee Klee?
Yes, ma'am.
Treasurer Anderson?
Yes.
Trustee Burt?
Yes.
Trustee Campbell?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Action item E is to take a look at the pavilion reservation fee clarification.
Tracy, you want to do this here?
Sure. So the pavilion reservation fee, we had somebody come in to take a reservation. And when we got looking at the form that's online, the form says that there's no charge during, it says weekends only for the charge.
Right.
But our codification schedule does not say that. So we had made a correction on that, but we wanted to clarify, because maybe you don't want to charge during the week, since that's usually when, like, school kids and things like that, it's usually, you know, local groups use it. Or maybe you don't want to charge them during the week unless they're using power. I don't know. So what we did was we were just trying to look for clarification. The motion we were looking for was to leave it the $35 for residents, $50 for non-residents. If you're looking to not charge for the weekends, we put no fees Monday through Thursday for reservations not requesting electricity. So if that's how you would like it, then we would change the codification fee schedule to show that. But right now, it doesn't show that. So we weren't sure what to do. We wanted to get it clarified by you.
So a lot of groups will meet there, like for crim walking, just to meet up, and then they go. They don't need the
Right, they're not
facilities.
reserving.
But if it's during the week and someone does want electricity, would there be a charge?
Have to be.
I would think so.
Think so. It has to
We-
be.
That's what we're trying to
That's-
Put it on here.
No, she has that there stated.
So would it be the 35 and 50 if they need the electricity, even if it's during the week?
If you want to, that's it. If that's how you want it, is if they're doing, you're not gonna charge them during the week unless they want electricity, and then if they want electricity, it's the same charge. We
Sure.
can do that, if that's how you want it. I just need that clarified so we can put it in the fee schedule so everybody has it.
That sounds good. Does someone want to make a
Is it-
motion?
Well,
Wait a minute, Tom's got a question.
is this a conversation, or are we looking to make a motion? Because, I'm sorry, I don't think, I'm all for using it, but I don't, and I'm all for everybody getting a chance to it, but I think this discussion has gone on for about a week now, or a few days. I don't think we need to have either a motion and then discuss, or we need to just say, hey, guys, how do we want to, let's just take this as maybe a conversation tonight, so that it clarifies, one, I have who's going to monitor, and I know it, I know who it falls to Paul, but who's going to monitor the garbage can? Who's going to make sure that the five of us out here, we go over there tonight, and we sit down, and I go, oh man, my laptop's low, I need to plug in. And who's going to monitor that I plug my laptop in? And
So,
I'm
Chief
just,
Salter?
I'm just asking, I'm not saying I want, not, you know.
So let me explain a few things. So we monitor the garbage cans, whether anybody reserves or not. The electricity is not on unless it's requested to be on. So you can't just go in and plug in and
Does it
use
flip
it,
on in your office?
right?
Does it flip on in your
Yeah.
building?
Yeah.
That's why I want just, it's one more.
And people can use the pavilion without a reservation.
Right, but I'm.
This is only if they reserve it and want to make sure that they have the spot.
Okay, are we having conversation? Because I'm going to throw a question out. Do you
Can we
mind?
have a motion?
There's no motion. I didn't make a motion. We were still having a conversation. I'm trying to clear this up, and I'm looking.
Trying to get a
I'm gonna
motion,
look-
but if you want to ask a question, go
I'm
ahead.
gonna ask a question to Chief, and can I direct it to his lieutenant sitting there? Does this put more on his plate to have to make sure that he's flipping a switch every day? I'm just asking it.
If we're there, we'll do it.
Yep.
I forget how that works on the weekends, though.
How's it gonna work in that respect?
It's done before. We've done it before. You gotta look into it a little bit more.
Okay, so
This isn't new. I mean,
No.
we've
Right.
allowed
No, I-
reservations for years.
I know, we do it all the time, but we're trying to clean things up. If we're gonna clean it up, let's clean it up all the way. I'll make a motion that we table this until we get it cleaned up. If somebody wants to follow with that, I'll make a motion that we
So
table it.
we have a motion to
But I'm in
postpone?
support of it, but I'll make a
Is
motion to
there
table.
a second to the motion to postpone?
Postpone.
To clean it up. I'm sorry.
So I don't hear a second to the motion, so that motion dies for lack of support. If someone would like to make a motion to approve this resolution and add on, it says here, no fees Monday through Thursday for reservations not requesting electricity, and the fee will be charged if they reserve with electricity. Would someone like to make that motion?
I'll make the motion to move forward.
I'll second it.
Discussion.
Now we're in
Now we in
discussion.
discussion.
And
There
I'm
you go.
I'm not gonna,
Tom, I have a question for you. Where are all your questions coming from? You?
back of my head, yeah.
Let's say, because this is
Go ahead.
going on a long time. I know.
I
who
know it-
cleans-
I know it has.
I know who cleans the garbage cans. I know who
So do
picks it
I.
up.
So- And that's why I know Paul's, but why, if we're gonna clean it up, we need to clean it up so it doesn't negatively impact the police department, doesn't negatively impact this and that. I'm all for it. I'll go use it tonight myself but let's just make sure we know what's happened. That's all I'm asking.
If something happened, what happened? Why is this on the agenda?
She mentioned
Somebody
it.
called to use it, and it wasn't clear about the fees.
The fees.
Exactly.
So
And the time,
things
the
didn't match
weekdays
up.
or week.
But there's never been issues. There's never been that. And when you do rent it, you get rules.
Right.
So you're gonna go, you'll have to get that paper.
And they monitor it, and Sandy does a lot of work over there, right?
Mostly Paul does.
Yeah.
Majority, I mean, Sandy
Yeah.
goes out there most of
Yeah,
the
Sandy's
time.
up there with Paul.
And you guys also have it on your schedule, and the switch is inside the police department, so you control that.
Yeah.
We know when somebody's gonna be out there, when somebody's not gonna be out there. Somebody rents it.
I mean, to be clear, the issue, we haven't had any issues with people using it. I haven't heard any complaints from your department or from the people doing the maintenance on it. The only issue we had was that we had a form that was in here that said one thing.
Yeah.
And we had a form online that said something
Something else.
different.
Yeah.
So we felt
it up.
it needed to be clarified by this board as to which way we were going. That's all.
Okay.
And what we see here is what was online or what's in this office?
What was online and is from the forms that I can find all the way back was that no fees Monday through Thursday, or it said no fees, or no, it said fees for weekend use only. That's what it said. It didn't even clarify what a weekend was. It just said fees for weekend use only.
And it didn't clarify the fees, correct?
It had the
Fees
fees,
were.
and underneath it, it said fees for weekend use only. The issue came into play when we're looking at the latest fee schedule that this board adopted, did not say that. So I wanted it clarified. If that's how we're doing it, the same as we've always done it, this would take care of that, and you would only be charging them the fee if they requested electricity, because then it's an extra outlay for this board. That's all.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
I would be in favor of voting yes for this, absolutely, to use the pavilion. But I'm just gonna say, I just wanna make sure that LT, I'm sorry, I don't wanna put more on you on a weekend or whatever it is. I'll come over, I'm closer than you, and I'll flip the switch, make it work. I just wanna make sure that, can we make sure that the fee schedule is square, but the document that Barb wants me to get this evening to go over and use it, I want to make sure that document is square as well, that, if we, please, thank you. I'm good.
That's why
I'll
we're
shut
trying
up.
to Clean it up.
Alrighty then. All those in favor of approving this resolution that says that the fee is $35 for residents, $50 for non-residents, no fees Monday through Thursday for reservations not requesting electricity. Otherwise, if you're using it and have a reservation Monday through Thursday and you're using electricity, you're going to pay those fees.
Exactly.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
It passes.
7, aye was a late aye, 7.
It passes. Our next meeting is July 17th. We're looking to schedule a special meeting on Wednesday, that's 2 days from now, at 4:15. Should be very brief. Here's the information. Other than that, if there's no further business, And without objection, we'll call the meeting adjourned. Thank you for being here.
Can you let Tom know that the actual ribbon cutting